Hi there.
Hi, greetings, and this is so amazing to have you here. That was such an amazing panel, and this is our final fireside chat. And the special person who has decided, who has committed her precious time to join us in this fireside chat is none other than Dr. Debi. Dr. Debi, you are a global speaker, two-time TEDx speaker, a life coach, a founder, and so many other things. But please introduce yourself, tell us what you do, and more to that, please tell us your mission towards the impact of humanity.
Yes, thank you. Well, I'm looking forward to this conversation. I'm Dr. Debi Silber. I'm the founder and CEO of the PBT, Post Betrayal Transformation Institute. It was really after two painful betrayals launched me into a PhD program. While I was there, I studied betrayal, what holds us back, what helps us heal, and what happens to us physically, mentally, and emotionally when the people closest to us lie, cheat, and deceive. That study led to three groundbreaking discoveries, which changed my health, my family, my work, my life. So, one of the discoveries was that while we can stay stuck for years, decades, a lifetime, and so many people do, uh, there are 5 stages we will go through if we fully heal. Most people out here listening and watching are stuck in stage 3. So when I realized, and transformation doesn't even begin until stage 4. So when I learned that, so I need to get this into everybody's hands. So I created the program and it blew up, and then everyone wanted to work with me. I was like, well, how do I leverage that? I created our certification program. And then I realized, I said, wait a second, I did the study. I know what works. What would happen if I put everything that works to heal from shattered trust and betrayal under one roof? That the research proved works, excluding everything that doesn't. And that's the PBT Institute.
Wow, that's an amazing journey. And when I look at the body of work that you've done to where you are right now, especially with the TEDx talk you did on betrayal with over 1.4 million views, and the comments were just tremendous of how much of impact that you're creating out there. So well done for that. So please let's go to this let's dive into this discussion. What are the psychological and physical health impacts of unhealed betrayal, and how can individuals begin to recognize the symptoms?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it impacts everything, our health, our work, our relationships. So generally, I can share something, when you think about, let's say, relationships, I'll see it in one of 2 ways. The first, a repeat betrayal. Classic sign that it's unhealed. We keep going from friend to friend to friend, partner to partner to partner, boss to boss to boss. And we say, is it me? Yes, it is. Not in that it's your fault, in that it's your opportunity. There's a profound lesson waiting to be learned. Maybe the lesson is you are lovable, worthy, and deserving. You need better boundaries in place, whatever that is. Until and unless you get that, you're going to have opportunities in the form of people to teach you. So a repeat betrayal, know that if it's repeating, it's unhealed. The other way we see it in relationships is the big wall goes up. We keep everyone at a distance. And we think it's coming from a place of strength. It's not. It's coming from fear. It's saying, oh my gosh, my heart was so hurt. I am not willing to risk that level of vulnerability. I would rather keep everyone away. And that's unhealed because that's not fair to you. The way we see it, let's say in health, you could go to the most well-meaning, amazing doctor, coach, healer, therapist to manage a stress-related symptom, illness, condition, disease. But if at the root of it is an unhealed betrayal, you're hacking away at the leaves, not getting to the roots. Like, for example, we've had 95,000 people plus take our post-betrayal syndrome quiz on our site to see to what extent they're struggling. 45% of everyone betrayed has a digestive issue, Crohn's, IBS, diverticulitis, something like that. So think about it. You could go to the most well-meaning digestive expert. They could recommend a beautiful protocol for you. But if you don't get to that unhealed betrayal at the root of it, you're only going so far. We see it at work. You can, you deserve that raise or promotion, but your confidence was shattered. So you don't have the confidence to ask. Or the person you trusted the most proved untrustworthy. How do you trust that boss, that coworker, that collaborative partner? So it shows up everywhere. And time won't heal it. A new relationship won't heal it. Healing it heals it. That's the only way.
Yeah, and I love the quote that you said is time doesn't heal, you have to heal it.
Oh,
That is
it's
very, very profound. And let me get to what you said, especially with the health and also
mhm.
the workplace. We are now seeing these effects, we're now seeing these symptoms, they're beginning to manifest. So how can one mitigate these effects in their workplace, in their relationships, and everything that perhaps it affects?
Yeah. Well, the first thing is you want to identify what stage you're in, because if you know what stage you're in and then you learn about the 5 stages, then it's okay. I realize I'm in, let's say, stage 2 or stage 3. And what do I need to do to move to the next stage and the next and the next? And I'll tell you, we have so many people coming into the PBT Institute with therapy trauma, the most well-meaning therapists and psychologists and counselors. But if all you're doing is unpacking your story, you're feeling heard. But if you notice, that's kind of all you're feeling. You're not any closer to that next stage. So if you don't feel even 1 degree closer towards that next stage when you know what the stages are, it's doing more harm than good. You need that early on, but there comes a point where it's really doing a tremendous amount of harm. I can even, if you want, I mean, I pull the stats from the post-betrayal syndrome quiz every so often. Happy to share them if that would serve.
Yeah,
Okay.
please do. Yeah, and you mentioned there's a quote you did on your one of your talks, and you said, "Whatever happened to you, it happened to you, but it was not about you."
Yeah.
So many people take it so seriously, and it's about them, and it really affects how they relate with themselves. It really affects how they relate with other people, and of course, it breaks trust and communication. Let's talk about trust. It's the most fragile thing here at stake, and also communication. When someone breaks your trust, you feel like every word in the world is like them. How do victims perhaps navigate rebuilding trust and communication with other people, not only just the betrayer? And also, you can answer, can the victim rebuild their trust with the betrayer? Yeah,
Yeah,
please.
great question. And that's why I wrote Trust Again. I do not believe trust can be repaired, but it can be rebuilt. The easiest way is I'll give you a metaphor. And if you imagine a brick wall, the only way I know of a brick wall being built is brick by brick by brick. So that's like trust. Every opportunity someone has to show that they're trustworthy, that's like one brick in that brick wall. So it takes time, right? And then in one earth-shattering moment or series of moments, the person who built the brick wall can shatter the whole brick wall. Now, the other person can look at the rubble of bricks and say, I don't have the least bit of interest in watching that thing get rebuilt. Totally fine, walk away. However, if the person whose trust has been shattered is willing, that would be their only job. The person who shattered the brick wall has to be a really good bricklayer. And it goes up the same way it went up the first time, brick by brick by brick. Every opportunity they have to show that they're trustworthy, that's one brick in that brick wall. So it takes time. But what happens is, so often I see the brick wall is up, the person shatters the brick wall, they don't really have much of an interest in rebuilding it. So the person whose trust has been shattered is like, fine, I'll rebuild it. No, no. That's why they don't feel safe. That's why they don't trust. That's where repeat betrayals happen. It's not their job to fix. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Yeah. And wow. Yeah, please go on.
Yeah. So trust, it is so fragile. And that was actually the first discovery, was that betrayal is such a different type of trauma. You know, when you think about it, let's say you lose someone you love, for example, you grieve, you're sad, you mourn the loss, life will never be the same. You don't necessarily question the relationship. You don't question your ability to trust. You don't question your sanity. With betrayal, you do, because not only is it a shattering of life as you've known it, it's also a complete and total shattering of the self. Think about it: rejection, abandonment, belonging, confidence, worthiness, trust. They're all destroyed in an experience of betrayal. So not only is the invitation to rebuild your life, it's also to rebuild yourself. When you do that, That's when you're in those stages 4, stage 5, the strongest, most confident, healthiest, most vibrant people I've ever seen. Because betrayal is one of the most painful of the human experiences. So when you move through that, you're totally different.
Wow, that's quite healing and therapeutic. When you talk about rebuilding a relationship with yourself, is forgiveness part of that process? And is it a must for one to forgive? And does this forgiveness apply to oneself and also to the betrayer, or it's just for me, myself, and I? I'm only going to forgive myself. I'm not going to betray the other. Tell me, how does one navigate the process of forgiveness?
Yeah, it's such a great question. And we're honored. The PBT Institute founded National Forgiveness Day, celebrated every year, September 1st. So it's so exciting. And forgiveness is so important because it releases the power that that pain has over you. And when it comes to the betrayer, self-forgiveness is really important. Now, there are some betrayers who are just on to the next. I'm not even talking about them. They're not willing to see what they've done. I'm talking about the ones who realize they just shattered the heart and trust of the very people that they love the most and that love them the most. I'm talking about them. When that's the case, it's important to do all you can to make it right. And self-forgiveness is important too, because they're not helping anyone if they're just stuck in their shame. That's not it. That's detrimental to them, to everybody around them. For the betrayed, forgiveness is really important. Now, when you forgive too soon, and according to the 5 stages from betrayal to breakthrough, forgiveness has an important place, but there's a place for it. If it's too soon, it backfires every time. When you forgive because, well, I just want this over with already, fine, I just forgive you. No. Uh, it goes along the same timeline as trust. So it takes a while because you need to feel safe. But when you forgive for the right reason, when you feel safe and valued and you forgive, you feel better. When you do not feel safe and valued and you forgive, you feel worse. So it's really important to know why you forgive, why you're choosing to forgive and the reason, but know that at the root of it, it's not about the other person. Forgiveness is for you.
Wow, I think we could have this talk about forgiveness. And when is that date for Forgiveness Day? I'd love to
September
know.
1st.
Oh, brilliant. And maybe perhaps you can tell us the importance of such professional support that institutions like PBT offers, the importance of therapy in overcoming and healing and the whole healing process. And how can we engage with your resources if our audience wants to reach out to you?
Yeah, thank you. So this is one of those things. It's really hard to go through alone. You're in a club you never wanted to be in. People who have not been through it just don't understand. And they're trying to help you, but it's coming through their lens. Like, for example, maybe they have such a hard time seeing you in pain. So they may minimize it. You'll minimize it as you heal, but for someone else to minimize it, that could be frustrating. Or someone who truly doesn't understand, like let's say a couples counselor, their intention is just to get you both okay, but that's defeating the purpose, because it could be, minimizing what the betrayer did, not hearing the betrayed. So what we do within PBT is get the betrayer. We have a program for the betrayer too. Get them to their best, get the betrayed to their best, and then they meet up again as two very different people. So support, the right type of support, is crucial as you're moving through this. And you really want to move through the proven, predictable 5 stages through betrayal to breakthrough, because when you do, you'll heal physically, mentally, emotionally, psychologically, and spiritually.
Brilliant. I wish we had more time to discuss this topic because it's very sensitive. I have researched all over so many places, and there's nowhere anyone will tell you about betrayal. No school will ever teach you about betrayal. And whatever you're doing with PBT Institute, I think it's very remarkable. It's worth all the plausibility. And we look forward to have you back again at GatherVerse, Dr. Selby. So our Gather was well. Thank you so much for your precious time. Bye.
Thank you.
That's it. That's what we got. GatherVerse Summit 2024, day 1, done. Tomorrow, we chop wood. We explore. We go further. Thank you so much for all of you that's with us, that stayed with us, that continues to be able to journey with us. We're super appreciative. We know you see the value. We obviously see the value. One community, one planet, one earth. Our gather was well.